Hello guys, how are you today? I hope you're doing very well wherever you are. Today I'm going to show you what is archaeologists looks like and what the kind of thing they do. So the first thing we must know is what is the meaning of archaeology. So what are you waiting for? Let's go! Archaeology is the study of the past by looking at the things left behind by the people who lived before us. The scientists who study archaeology are called archaeologists, and they are kind of like detectives. The clues they find help us to understand the way people used to live. And sure, that can be anything, including buildings, artwork, tools, bones, weapons, even garbage. That might sound like digging for buried treasure, but the real treasure isn't how the things we find tell a story about the way people used to live. That includes fossils and dinosaur bones. Archaeologists sometimes find fossils, but they really focus on our people and the things they left behind. A lot of people, what we know about the people who lived before us was first discovered by archaeologists. So how do they do what they do? Well, mostly they dig. Archaeologists are different from paleontologists who also do a lot of digging. Paleontologists study natural history and dig up fossils, but archaeologists study human history and dig up artifacts. Archaeologists spend a lot of time digging where they think they might find important historical objects or artifacts. If they have an idea of where they might find artifacts, they will visit the spot and perform something called a survey. A survey is when archaeologists look for clues on the ground like old or broken pieces of artifacts that suggest more cool artifacts might be underground waiting to be discovered. Archaeologists mark this spot with little flags. These are spots where they will excavate or dig, looking for clues. But sometimes archaeologists need to see the bigger picture when they are learning about a place, so they also survey places by looking at them from the sky. Hundreds of miles up in space, satellites are used by archaeologists to take pictures of places that might have buried buildings or the ruins of other structures that you can see from the ground. Close to the Earth, some archaeologists use remote-controlled flying machines with cameras on them. By flying up just a few meters or so, these machines can give scientists a bird's-eye view of where there used to be, something like a house or maybe a whole village. But archaeologists don't just dig in the spot however they want. They carefully map out the whole area they want to explore so they don't damage artifacts in the ground, and so they know exactly where they found them. And they do that by using grids. A grid is a design that breaks the sections of the ground into small squares. These squares are usually marked with rope and string. Grids help archaeologists keep track of the different artifacts that they uncover. Each object they find is labeled with a grid number. And then its location is mapped, so archaeologists can remember exactly where each artifact came from. And when they are digging, archaeologists use all sorts of different tools, from spoons and brushes to shovels, and even digging machines like bulldozers. So, once an archaeologist is done surveying and digging for the day, what's next? Sure, it's time to go to the lab. These labs where archaeologists get a close-up look at the things they have uncovered. There, they start to make guesses about who might have made the artifacts, what they used for, and when in history they might from. These are their steps that archaeologists use to study how people live all over the world. Some archaeologists, for example, study ancient Egypt, discovering tombs where people were buried, and learning about how the pyramids and other buildings were built thousands of years ago. So the conclusion is, an archaeologist is someone who studies prehistory and history from the development of first stone tools millions of years ago up until recent decades. Archaeologists use various historical research techniques used for studying the past. These involve surveying, excavations, and analysis of data collected, archival research, oral history, and site surveying.